where Space Marines represent the mass-produced, genetically engineered soldiers of the Imperium of Man. The Adeptus Custodes are a force of individual warriors, each a bastion in his own right and a sentinel of unmatched capability and singular purpose created to counter any possible threat. Human, alien or demonic. These warriors have stood in the presence of the immortal Emperor of mankind since before the time of the Unification Wars. The Custodes are warriors unmatched in the galaxy, genetically engineered by the Emperor himself. The Emperor engineered few of these warriors once the swifter method for creating superhuman warriors using Space Marine gene seed became more viable. The martial capabilities of the Adeptus Custodes remain largely unknown at the present time. What is known is that they possess skill beyond even a normal member of the Adeptus Astartes. A Shire called Samson, born in 1846 Bedfordshire, England, stood at an impressive 21.25 hh. The tallest living horse is a Percheron gelding called Big Jake who stands at 20.2 hh. Also, read our article on the largest horse breeds in the world to learn more about Samson and Big Jake. The Arabian horse is the foundation of many other light horse breeds. They also possess some unique characteristics. Arabian horses have one fewer vertebrae, rib and tailbone than other horses. The single bone in the thigh is called the femur. This bone is very thick and strong, due to the high proportion of bone tissue, and forms a ball and socket joint at the hip, and a modified hinge joint at the knee. One of the most common questions about horses is how long does a horse live? The answer may surprise you. Knowledge of horse nutrition, horse care, and veterinary medicine has increased. Because of this, just as human life expectancy has increased, so has equine longevity. The Sith Holocaust was a major event that occurred in the history of the Star Wars franchise during the Old Republic era. Immediately after the Great Hyperspace War, the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order reigned victorious, but the Supreme Chancellor Pultimo had noticed that there were still surviving remnants of the Sith Empire and sent in Republic and Jedi forces to the planet to wipe them out. The Sith, known alternatively as Red Sith or Sith Purebloods, were a species of red-skinned humanoids that originated on the world of Korriban, before eventually resettling on the ice world of Zayust. Also distinct for their bone spurs, facial tentacles, and genetic predispositions toward both left-handedness and the dark side of the Force, the Sith species coalesced into an empire ruled first by kings and later by Dark Lords. A Kyber crystal, simply known as a Kyber, also called a lightsaber crystal, the living crystal and known in ancient times as a Kyber crystal, were rare, Force-attuned crystals that grew in nature and were found on scattered planets across the galaxy. They were used by the Jedi and the Sith in the construction of their lightsabers. As part of Jedi training, younglings were sent to the crystal cave of the ice planet of Ilum to mine crystals in order to construct their own lightsabers. To join the Jedi Order, you are taken away when you're a young child and never meet your family again. You're also taught to suppress your emotions and can't have any friends or loved ones. That's how Anakin fell and other Jedi as well. The sugar content of sap averages 2.5%, sugar content of maple syrup is at least 66% or more. Usually a maple tree is at least 30 years old and 12 inches in diameter before it is tapped. As the tree increases in diameter, more taps can be added, up to a maximum of 4 taps. The Force is like a living being, it can get wounded and those wounds manifest. One such wound manifested in a person who would eventually be known as Darth Nihilus. He became so powerful in Force Drain, a dark side power that steals the life of others and gives it to themselves. He got so powerful that he consumed the life force of every being on a planet. He literally became powerful enough to become a planet killer. The difference between organic and non-organic maple syrup is quite basic. It is true that not all maple syrup is certified organic, but generally, all maple syrup is made in the same way. Maple trees are tapped and sap is collected and boiled. Non-organic and organic maple syrup producers are both required to have state and FDA inspections. These inspections are necessary to ensure that the syrup is processed and handled in a safe, sanitary and legal manner. The organic certification takes one more inspection by an organic inspector who goes over many of the same guidelines with a few additions. Health benefits of real maple syrup are far more comprehensive than you might expect. The only product in our diet coming directly from a plant's sap, this natural sweetener features over 54 antioxidants that can help delay or prevent diseases caused by free radicals, such as cancer or diabetes. This added inspection and record keeping is really what makes the difference between organic and non-organic certified pure maple syrup. Although most non-organic maple syrup is also made without any chemicals or pesticides, there is no guarantee of it unless you buy organic syrup. International guidelines for producing maple syrup are generally the same as the organic guidelines. The organic inspection simply verifies that these practices are actually taking place. Do you know how to produce maple syrup? The trunks will be drilled to create holes. The exuded sap will be collected from the holes. After that, the water will be evaporated from the heated sap to leave with high level of concentrated maple syrup. The indigenous people from North America were considered as the first men who collected and created maple syrup. The production method conducted by the indigenous people of North America was refined by the Europeans to collect maple syrup. In 1966, a group of maple syrup producers in Quebec participated in a joint plan to collectively market maple syrup. This effort inspired the formation of a larger agreement all across Quebec which became known as the Federation of Quebec Maple Syrup Producers. The FPAC maintains a strategic reserve of maple syrup, officially known as the International Strategic Reserve (ISR), across multiple warehouses in rural Quebec towns. In 2014, the export of maple syrup in Canada reached the income of $380 million Canadian dollars. 85% of the production was from Quebec. In the United States, the largest producer of maple syrup is Vermont, which accounts for 6% of the world's production. As the operation progressed, the thieves started siphoning syrup directly off barrels in the reserve without refilling them. The stolen syrup was trucked to the south, Vermont, and east, New Brunswick, where it was trafficked in many small batches to reduce suspicion. It was typically sold to legitimate syrup distributors who were unaware of its origin. In fall 2012, the FPAC took annual inventory of syrup barrels. Inspector Michelle Gouvore started climbing up the barrels and nearly fell, expecting 600 pound, 270 kilograms, barrels but finding them to be empty. Police later recovered hundreds of barrels of the syrup from an exporter based in Kedgwick, New Brunswick.
Thank you, Expo.